It's after hours at the Klae Corporation. Daniel and Kate are in the lab working late, and a lady with a custodial cart is in the hall doing her job. And maybe a little something extra.
Who is it?
It's Miss McAllister, ma'am. The cleaning lady.
Mrs. McAllister, could you come back later and clean, please?
It's not the cleaning, ma'am. I need to talk to you and the doctor. It's important.
I don't think she wants to talk to Daniel like that. If you were watching closely, you saw that I've been right all along. He does have a bunch of extras in there. It's always nice to feel vindicated. Since his friend Dr. Maggio made all those, I hope he sent the Klae Corporation a nice fat invoice. I just wish I'd been there to see Walter's face when he read it.
Mrs. McAllister, come in.
Good evening, Doctor. Good evening, Dr. Weston. I'm sorry to bust in on you like this, but I didn't...
That's all right. What's the problem?
Well...
McAllister, Annie, the chair.
The fact that she does the job she does tells us Mrs. McAllister is a solid, strong, do-whatever-it-takes lady. There's only one thing that could make someone like her fall apart this way.
I hate to burden you, Dr. Weston, but I got no place else to go.
Well, don't be silly. We want to hear.
It's my little boy, Leland.
That's the one thing, family. She got a letter from a cousin. Leland is in prison in Texas, but he's there under a different name and is pretending he doesn't know his own cousin. Supposedly, he's in for drugs.
My boy had to been framed. He don't drink, he don't smoke, he got a college education. A boy like that don't use dope.
It comes down to this. She knows there's such a thing as the Klae resource. She doesn't know what it is, but she knows it's there to help people who are at the end of their rope. I'd say she qualifies. She can't afford a lawyer, and she has no idea even where to begin trying to do something herself.
I hate to ask, but if y'all can't help me find what happened to my boy, I just don't know what to do.
I have a message for all you rough, tough cowboys with your big guns and your big pickups and your big beards and your big hats and your big talk. You will never be as tough as this lady. You wouldn't last a year doing what she does, and I'll tell you why. You're too selfish. You do all that stuff for you, not for anybody else. She has spent her life toiling at menial jobs like this, not for herself, but for her son and any other kids she might have. How do you think he got that college education? She worked her butt off for years and did without a lot so he could. People like her look to their family and their family's future. People like you don't look any further than your own image. She's the tough one, dude. You wish you had what she has inside. You'll never know what it took for her to humble herself like this and ask for help from people that she considers far above her in every way. The Westins are here to tell her that she and her son are every bit as important to this world as the Klae resource is.
You are taking off to do what?
To help someone in need, Walter. Daniel explains the situation.
Leland McAllister had a brilliant college career, a fine service record, and never as much as a parking ticket.
It's not the Klae Resources problem.
No? A woman who just happens to work for you is in a lot of trouble. Whose problem is it?
Walter wants to hand it off to some other agency, like the Public Defender's Office, but Leland pleaded guilty. Walter says then maybe he is guilty. If he had a public defender, it was most likely a plea bargain, and his so-called attorney pressured him to take it because the attorney was short on time. That's how it usually goes, especially when the subject is young black men and drugs. And always classy Texas. Whatever the truth is, Daniel is going to find it.
Dan, I'm telling you, I strongly advise against this.
Walter, if I can't use my invisibility for the small guy once in a while, who can I use it for?
The big guy.
Oh, you're all hard.
And you're a sucker.
Nobody's perfect.
But the big guys pay big dollars. You know that's what Walter's thinking. We can't fault him too much for it. It is part of his job. He just needs to balance it out with the other parts, like helping people.
Well, I realize that you've come a long way, sir, but I'm afraid that it's impossible.
Well, surely, Warden, you can bend the rules a little.
It has nothing to do with the rules. Personally, I have no objection to your meeting with James Smith. However, he has.
James Smith is the name Leland is in there under. He won't talk to other inmates, won't talk to the guards, won't talk to their psychiatrist, or otherwise take part in anything that goes on in this place. He's practically a hermit. Daniel is pretending to be a divorce lawyer who needs Mr. Smith's signature on some documents. The warden says, "I think you're wasting your time, but I'll ask him."
Millie, would you page prisoner James Smith and tell him that... Just a minute. Did you say your name?
Leland McAllister.
And tell him that Leland McAllister would like to see him.
If that doesn't get his attention, nothing will.
What? You sure? Thank you. He'll see you.
Of course he will. It's not every day a guy gets to meet himself.
Millie, you know that fellow who was just in here, McAllister? Do me a favor, huh? Run a complete check on him. No, not through the FBI. Go through Dick Marks at Justice. Thank you.
Looks like he got someone else's attention, too. The warden is Pat Harrington Jr., though at this time he wasn't using the Jr. in his name. He was another character actor who made the rounds for years. Then he found his little slice of immortality when he got the role of Dwayne Schneider on One Day at a Time. He also did tons of voice acting for cartoons of every shape and size. We don't know the whole story of the warden yet, but that face and demeanor are selling it, whatever it is.
Leland?
No, sir. Your name is Leland. My name is Smith.
Whatever you say. Your mom asked me to look you up, see how you are.
Is that a fact?
Yeah, that's a fact. She's worried sick about you.
Well, ain't no need to. I was right happy here, sir.
He's really going all out. His uneducated bumpkin accent is near perfect. Daniel identifies himself and Leland says, "Now you say you're somebody else. I don't know who you are." Daniel says, "How can I prove it to you?"
What's teletransportation?
What?
You heard me.
It's my method for breaking down matter into energy so that I can transmit it at the speed of light.
And possum,
The top secret designation for my work.
also known as?
The Klae resource.
All right, Weston, now that you know that I'm all right, will you get out of here and don't come back?
Daniel says, "There must be something I can do for you," but the conversation is over.
Guard, I was ready to go back now.
James McEachin is retired from acting now, but he had a character acting career that spanned 5 decades. And before that, he was a record producer. Since he retired, he's made audiobooks, among other things. We can see right here what kind of versatility he has, and it's good to know he's still making use of it.
Undercover.
Oh, it's the only possible explanation. He knew things that only someone with a Security 6 clearance could know. And he's there under a phony name.
But Mrs. McAllister didn't say anything about it.
Well, Mrs. McAllister probably doesn't know anything about it.
Assuming Daniel is right, telling his mother wouldn't be too bright. It would put her in as much danger as he's in. While we don't know that much about Leland yet, we do know he's not stupid. As much as he doesn't want to, Daniel calls Walter and asks him to find out who Leland works for and what his assignment is. Walter has another concern.
And have you stopped to think that if he is undercover, you may have blown it?
Me? How?
The warden says Smith refuses to see anyone. Now you go waltzing in there as Leland McAllister and Smith comes running. Doesn't that strike you as being just a little bit odd?
Oh, what an idiot I've been.
Yeah, that's why he was growling at you to get out of there and don't come back. But now, Daniel can't sit around and wait for Walter's call. He's going to become prisoner Harry Wells, part of the same work gang James Smith is on. We get to watch a bag of clothes and body parts dig under the fence and slip into the compound, and it's great fun. Once again, the invisibility effects are as good as anything a studio could come up with today. He slips into the admitting office, creates a file for himself, snitches some prison clothes, and he's all set. This place is less a standard prison and more a work farm, so the first step is to find out where James works. Another inmate can tell him that.
Oh, he works at the woodworking shop, that building right over there.
Oh, thanks.
Hey, you want a tip?
Yeah, what?
You know, keep your nose clean, follow the rule. And this place ain't too bad. As a matter of fact, it's better than the joint.
I'll remember.
And keep away from Connor.
Kona? Who's he?
Connor's the head guard, and he's bad.
He got shipped out of another prison because of brutality. He landed here because he and the warden are old buddies. Suspiciouser and suspiciouser.
He is making me old before my time.
Walter, he was afraid that Leland might be in danger.
Well, they're both in danger. Now, McAllister is an agent, and he's been on this case for over a year, and it's a big one. Millions of dollars worth of heroin each year are spread through the South and the Southwest. Now, they've traced it to that prison. They think the warden's behind the whole thing.
Perhaps Daniel should have waited for that information before he did this.
Get out of here, disappear.
I may have blown your cover.
Oh, just terrific. You may have blown my cover. You just figured that out, huh?
If you know anything about the Klae resource, you must know that I may be able to help you.
I don't want any help. I have been on this case for over a year and it's ready to bust wide open.
He's already finished his job. Now he's waiting for his people to bust the place and get him out of there. And he doesn't need or want any help from the Klae resource or any other resource.
When's that?
I don't know. I don't want to know. All I know is that I want to get out of here alive, which I thought I had a pretty good shot at until you showed up.
Just get out of there, Daniel. He has it under control. Report to his mother that he's performing an important service for his country and put her mind at ease. That was the job, you know.
Well, can Dan help?
No. What McAllister doesn't know is the FBI's contact in Mexico has informed them that a huge drop is taking place tomorrow at 6 in the very motel in which you're staying. Now, the minute arrests are made, Leland will be sprung, but until that time, he is a sitting duck. Can you get to Dan?
Not only is he a sitting duck, Daniel is pushing him out into the open where all the hunters can see him.
He just came in. Leland McAllister is an agent of the Federal Bureau of Narcotics.
How'd you get hold of these?
I have friends in Washington.
That's Daniel's file. I don't know why he came up as a federal agent. The warden doesn't know why he wanted to see Smith. They figure he must be the inside contact. Time to take care of him before this deal goes down.
I saw the warden. Luckily, he didn't see me. Now, he's bound to spot you sooner or later. You've got to get out of here.
I'll meet you back at the motel.
No, now. I'll wait for you a quarter of a mile down the road.
Okay, I'll be out of here in 20 minutes.
I doubt that, because he's bound to learn that the warden is now gunning for Smith.
Who is Leland McAllister?
Sir?
Come on, Smith. He's the only person you've seen here.
Well, to tell you the truth, sir, he was sent by my dear old ma.
The amazing part about that is he's telling the truth.
Had to do with some legal stuff. It seems that my car was repossessed.
I don't know who you are, Smith. Not yet, anyway. But I know who Leland McAllister is.
That puts him one up on Smith because even he doesn't know exactly who that guy is.
Well.
Sometimes Daniel is a little too pleased with himself and he gets careless.
Well, Smith, we got company for you. There you go, fellas. Now you can visit all you want to.
And then that happens. I'm sure they have lots to talk about, but I'd start by checking the room for microphones. If it's any consolation to Smith, Daniel was trying to leave.
Hi.
I've known you for what, 6, 8 hours?
Something like that.
Well, how can one man cause me so much grief in so short a period of time?
It takes years of training and experience, but don't worry, Daniel has all that. He says, please don't try to talk to me. There's no good reason to, because Daniel doesn't have a clue what to do now. Outside, it won't take Kate long to figure out something's gone wrong. Connor has been doing some digging of his own, and he's discovered who our two mystery men are.
They're identical.
James Smith is really Leland McAllister.
Well, who's Harry Wells?
I said in Harry Wells's prints. I got that back.
Daniel Weston.
Yeah, he works for the Klae Corporation in Los Angeles. Runs this thing called Klae Resource. I don't know what it is, but the guy's got a top security clearance.
That means if you do something to them, they will be missed, and there will be a thorough investigation that will blow the whole operation and probably send them to their own prison.
Now look, this whole thing is getting hairy. Maybe it's not worth the risk.
Conner, we've got $5 million worth of stuff in that safe. You don't get cold feet now.
But what if the whole thing is being watched?
I'm sure it is. And I'm sure that they know we're making the transfer tomorrow.
So?
Which is why I've arranged to meet Senor Robles today.
Speaking of guys who can be a little too confident, I think he fits the description. He has Conner put the heroin into his suitcase.
Well, gentlemen, are you both quite comfortable?
It's the Ritz, Warden.
Well, this is a dangerous business, so you have to expect these things now and again.
What are you going to do with it?
Are you serious? Tell him, McAllister.
Sir, we's as good as dead.
The warden explains that he's making the exchange today, so their existence doesn't matter. James Smith will be shot while trying to escape, while Harry Wells never existed. You can't murder someone who doesn't exist. Whatever became of Daniel Weston will remain one of life's little mysteries.
When I return, you'll be turned over to Mr. Conner. Gents, it's really been a pleasure having you as my guests.
Thank you, Warden.
Now they really have to escape. Daniel says, I can get us out of here, but I'm going to have to show you something.
You have a Captain Marvel ring.
Well, as a matter of fact, it's even better than that.
Someone explained to Leland that Captain Marvel doesn't use a ring. Captain Marvel can't do that either.
That's nice. That's very nice. How'd you do that? Come on, how'd you do that?
He assumed it was an illusion of some kind. Now he's freaking out. But he's holding it together enough to help Daniel get the shirt and hands off in spite of the handcuffs. Outside, the warden and Conner are getting things ready to make the exchange.
I should meet him at 6, make the switch, be back here 7:30.
Okay. The bus rolls at 8. Got a private plane waiting for us in Juarez. That'll take us to Mexico City. We'll make connections for South America there.
That explains why the warden is so adamant about going ahead with this deal. It's their last big score before they skip the country. I always laugh when they just say South America. Which country? Some of them speak Spanish and some speak Portuguese. Do you know either of those languages? Are you going through channels or are you immigrating to some country illegally? They always talk about South America as though it's this big monolithic country and all you have to do is catch a plane there and you're golden. I wonder how many such people had a big surprise coming when they stepped off the plane. Kate is still down the road waiting for Daniel, but it's plain to see he's not coming. Instead, she follows the warden's car. I have a question for Walter. I know cell phones don't exist yet, but why doesn't their car have a radio so they can call for help if they need it? Stop being cheap, Walter.
All right, what's going on?
He's gone!
What?
I don't know! That fella sleeping, he picked the lock!
Let me see them cuffs.
Terrific! Now, can you get his keys?
It's always helpful when the bad guy has a glass jaw. This guy has the key to Leland's leg iron, but only Conner has the key to the handcuffs. They'll have to improvise.
Wait a minute.
You don't think anybody's gonna notice that I got 2 hands, 1 pair of handcuffs, and 1 torn pocket, do you?
You know, keep walking. You're doing great.
You ain't had it.
What did they do with Daniel's head and hands? If they left him in the cell for that guard to find, the poor guy may never sleep again.
Hey, you! How did you get out?
Believe me, sir, it wasn't easy.
You wouldn't believe him if he told you. Better if he just shows you, so to speak.
You get your hands up. I said get him up. What the?
Yeah, like that. That's how he got out. I told you showing was better than telling. Kate has followed the warden to the motel. Even without the exposition he gave Daniel and Leland, it's not hard to figure out what he's doing. She's back in her room trying to call Walter. Leland and Daniel have taken one of the facility's cars and are on their way. This isn't surprising. He was driving erratically and way too fast. Let's have the ticket and get moving.
You got the car real slow like.
Or not. He tries to explain who he is, but Cletus here sees a prison car and prison clothes and he don't want to hear anymore.
Weston, hit him.
Now listen here, man. You try it out again, and I'm liable to lose my temper.
He's also the one cop in the whole state who can take a punch. He cuffs Leland and throws him in the back of the police car. Daniel slips into the prison car and follows. Kate is watching the warden's connection from Mexico arrive in a big green Cadillac. The deal is going down, but Walter can't get federal agents or local yokels over there in time. He says, stall them. She says, how?
Murray! Murray! You don't come out here right now, I'll make a scene you'll never forget! Murray!
Lady, there's no one named Murray here. Now, calm down.
I don't believe you. He's hiding inside.
Well, why don't you come in and look for yourself?
All right, I will.
He's not in the bathroom, he's not in the walk-in closet, and he's not under the bed. But she kills plenty of time searching them all while the warden sits there like this.
Well?
Guess he's not here.
I guess not.
And where is he?
Lady, we're traveling salesmen, and we just pulled in from 12 hours on the road. Now, we're having a drink. Now, do you mind looking elsewhere for whatever his name is?
Murray.
Yes, Murray.
Yeah, they're traveling salesmen. They traveled here to sell something to each other. That counts, right?
Nice try, Mrs. Weston.
Dan, you scared me.
I'm sorry.
They're in there. I saw them.
Get them to open their door. Then I want you to go back to the room and stay there.
Meanwhile, our Roscoe P. Coltrane wannabe has been checking Leland's story.
Well?
It looks like I owe you an apology.
Well, you're gonna apologize later. Now take these things off of me. We gotta go and make a bust.
If you're real quick about it, he might let you bring Flash along.
Now what?
I want to apologize for getting so upset before, but you know, it's Murray. He's been running around on me. He doesn't think I know anything about it.
It's quite all right, madam. Good afternoon.
No, wait, just in case you see him, please tell him that I'm looking. Then I...
Goodbye.
I'm not sure what the implications are, but it seems to me she's way too good at that. Daniel is in. Leland and Sheriff Lobo are on their way.
Got the stuff right here in the suitcase.
Let me see it.
I am.
I said Daniel is in. Correction, Daniel is on. The suitcase, that is.
I don't know what's going on here, Stone, but I don't like it. I'm leaving.
Rollers, look, I guess the hinges were jammed.
Or you could have a poltergeist. Right now, we get to watch one of Hollywood's most persistent myths in action.
All right.
No thinking drug dealer would ever do that. If it is something that's off, he has no idea what it might do to him. Test kits exist for a reason, and somebody this high up on the food chain would always use one. You don't get to where he is by sticking unknown substances in your mouth. It seems to be an epidemic. They're identical cases. Looks like they have identical issues. It's almost as though someone is holding it shut. How odd. Eventually it opens, he sees the money, and their business is concluded. Robles will leave first.
Shut the door! Did you like this thing? I liked it. What kind of cheap bags are you using? Oh, why don't you shut up and just help me collect it up, would you please?
That'll hold him just long enough. Leland and Deputy Dog have arrived.
Leland?
Who are you?
Dan Weston's wife. He's been stalling him until you got here, over their roommate.
All right, well, you better get back to your room.
I have a feeling Mrs. McAllister is going to be very proud of her boy in the next few minutes.
Open up, Stone. Police officer.
Where were they going? This place doesn't have back doors. Even Murray couldn't find one.
You do it, Stone. I love it. Now get those hands up. Both of you under arrest. Get them up!
Considering the way he treated Leland, yeah, Warden, go ahead. Give him an excuse.
Hey, nice going, partner.
Well, it was the least I could do, sir.
I got nothing.
Oh, I don't know how to thank you all for what you've done.
Don't give it another thought, Mrs. McAllister. We try and help all of our employees in any way we can.
Especially when we were the ones who caused the mess in the first place because Daniel didn't wait for information. Nobody's talking about that.
And you, young man, if you just tell me about these assignments of yours, I wouldn't worry so.
I know, Ma, I know, and I'm sorry.
When he's going undercover, it's kind of part of the job not to, Mom. But maybe he can say, I'm going on an assignment and you might not hear from me for a while. That way, the next time he ignores his cousin, she can tell him, don't worry, he's on some kind of special assignment. And then everybody will know. See the problem?
If it hadn't been for Dr. Weston here, I don't know what would have become of you.
Yeah.
As I said, nobody's talking about that, but they have an understanding. It goes something like this. Next time, please don't do me any favors. But what if? No favors. Right, no favors. Tells us Mrs. McAllister is a... You wouldn't last a year doing what she was. He just needs the balance. He's not in the bathroom.